The United States is known as the most powerful country in the world with the best military and one of the best economies. Also backed by the gold standard currency, the US dollar. But the story of the United States is quite interesting because it was built on a country of migration. That's how the United States always puts it. It's all about the migration to the United States. The European migration, the Asian migration, the forced migration of blacks who became known as African Americans, and the list continues to go on and on. If you look at some of the companies that have been started in the United States, many of them have come from non-European backgrounds, like WhatsApp and Google and other things that have shaped the country to become what it is today. However, migration also brings in certain situations that are unfavorable, such as this.
State officials tell us today, Liz, that they confirm they moved 98 people from this Pilsen shelter behind me. Of course, there are hundreds of people staying here, but they specifically moved those folks out who are most at risk, mainly pregnant people and infants who could not be vaccinated. In the meantime, those connected with people here at the shelter are keeping a close eye for anyone with symptoms of measles. School administrators are watching for any new cases of measles. On Monday, Chicago Public Schools was informed a student at Cooper Dual Language Elementary Academy was among the 8 people staying at a shelter for new arrivals who had measles. Over the weekend, a Philip Armour Elementary student had been confirmed for measles as well.
That's right, measles. Migration brings in diseases, but that could be fixed if you just quarantine enough people. But I want to get back to this particular lady who said this at a Chicago City Council meeting. Rewind!
And those words say, in May 1980, Fidel Castro opened the harbor at Muriel, Cuba, with the apparent intention of letting some of his people join their relatives in the United States. Within 72 hours, 3,000 U.S. boats were headed for Cuba. It soon became evident that Castro was forcing the boat owners to carry back with them not only their relatives, but the dregs of his jails. Of that 125,000 refugees that landed in Florida, an estimated 25,000 had criminal records. That's what's up. That's what has happened in the United States right now. All this asylum-seeking lie, all this about refugees, no. What's happening is they're emptying out the dregs of their jails into the United States, into our communities. They're junking up our country.
Oh yeah, this lady clearly talks about her concerns about the fact that the migrants coming over could be criminals. Not all of them, but some of them. And guess what? She was right on the money. Only 2 weeks after posting this happened.
A migrant from Venezuela is facing charges accused of attacking and sexually assaulting women.
One of those attacks leading to an alert from the UIC campus. Casey Cronus is live with the latest on the case against him. Casey?
Sylvia and Terrence, a judge has denied pretrial release for that man as prosecutors argued he's already attacked 2 women and they do not want to allow room for him to victimize any others. Take a look. Elvis Jesus Hernandez Pernalete, who also goes by Luis Guevara, has been charged with criminal sexual abuse, aggravated battery and strangulation, robbery and attempted robbery. According to UIC police, around 8 p.m. on March 16th, the Venezuelan migrant followed a woman from the UIC Halstead Blue Line station near Harrison and Morgan Streets, then physically and sexually assaulted her and stole her belongings. Court documents reveal this was not the first woman Pernalete followed from a train stop and attacked. Plus, in early March, he allegedly stole about $140 worth of merchandise from TJ Maxx. Alderman Ray Lopez, who has advocated for adding so-called carve-outs in the city's sanctuary city policy, says this would hold asylum seekers who come to the city and commit crimes accountable.
That's right. This guy, a migrant, is out there at the University of Illinois, Chicago, attacking women. Unfortunately, I don't know what the race of the lady is, but it's an American woman. a woman who has no ties to the university, but an innocent victim. And what's so interesting is this isn't his first time doing something like this. And what's so interesting about that is he stole $140 a time before that. He's now in jail, but why is he not deported? Well, it could be because Chicago may be declared as a sanctuary city, which pretty much means that you can't be deported in a sanctuary city. But here's another issue that we are going to have with migrants coming into the United States.
When somebody is arrested for crossing illegally, are there any checks at all on these migrants? Do we have any idea who they are actually in the countries that they came from, what kind of lives they led in their home countries?
You know, their fingerprints are run against our records here in the United States, and not all countries share their records with us. So if we don't have access to their records, if they haven't committed any crimes here in the United States, then all we have to go by is what they say. And, you know, obviously they're not, if they have a criminal history, they're not going to tell us about it. And not enough is being done. Obviously what happened to this young lady is tragic. Unfortunately, it will continue to happen until somebody gets serious about this.
Right. So we don't know. Someone comes across the border. We know there's a huge number of people, hundreds of thousands from Venezuela, where this man was from. We don't know that he might have been a killer, a convicted killer in Venezuela, and he just shows up at our border and says, I'm applying for asylum. We have no way of checking. No way of checking. I mean, it's on the honor system, which is a shame when the first thing you do in our country is break the law, and then we're supposed to take your word for it. And everything else you say after that is the truth. It's ridiculous. It's silly. If these countries aren't willing to share their records with us, there's no way we should let these folks in the country.
Yeah, see, that's important. Let me just tell you this, right? I have a friend who went to Canada. And Canada's interesting because as an American going into Canada, they share systems, criminal history systems. So if you have a felony in the United States, Canada can access it because America and Canada will share records. They're not the same country, but they're very similar countries. In many ways, operate as one large country. But when you're from Venezuela or you're from Central American countries, South America, these criminal courts in countries don't have the same level of sophistication when it comes to criminality and understanding the records of such criminals. So fingerprinting people doesn't work. You only get their fingerprint after they do crimes here, and then now they're in the system here, but by then it's too late. Remember what happened to this lady in Georgia?
An illegal immigrant charged with the murder of a 22-year-old Georgia nursing student, Laken Riley, is the Venezuelan who reportedly crossed illegally into El Paso back in 2022 and was released into the U.S. on parole.
That's right. This is a guy who was committing crimes way before that and should have already been sent back or put in jail or whatever. The reality is, not all migrants are bad. I get it. But all you need is one to be bad to cause a lot of trouble. One guy can cause enough problems to commit enough atrocities, and that could be bad enough on its own, right? And for ladies out there, and here's what I'm talking about. A lot of black women don't like what I'm saying, but I'm gonna go back and say it. Remember when I said that you shouldn't go to Africa without a man? Here's when having a community and a man around you is important. Because let me tell you this, I know you can be out by yourself and anything can happen. But these women out here that don't have husbands, especially in the black community, you are more susceptible to something like this happening to you, especially if you're in a community where a lot of migrants are coming in and it's a lot of men. And in the black communities, I hate to say it, but I gotta be honest, we have a lot of single women, a lot of single mothers, all right? And resources are gonna be spread thin in y'all cities. It's not gonna be like it was last year or 2 years. The police are housing many people who are doing many more crimes, and unfortunately, some of the money that should be going to maybe help the police might not be going to help the police. It could be going to help, you guessed it, migrants. This is why it's important for our community. We have women and children that don't have no man there. All you need is, Some of these guys were desperate to try to break in and not knowing that you're there, and now that you are there, what are they gonna do? That's the whole point. Because you gotta also understand, Democratic leadership, they're not gonna help you. Not in New York, not in Chicago. Here's where the black community gotta come and help itself. And it's unfortunate, it's sad, but the guy isn't even deported. He's in Cook County Jail. Imagine. It's a slap in the face. Literally, it is. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea D. Jackson. Another episode here of Fair Use. I'm out.